So, about 2.5 months ago, I got engaged to my boyfriend of 4 years. He had always told me that his mother had rushed into a relationship with his dad, and they had been unhappy for the most part. So, they ended up getting divorced when he was 9, and it was a pretty ugly divorce. And even today, his parents don't get along well. He told me that he never wanted a relationship like that. So for him, marriage would be off the table unless he was completely 100% sure about it. I thought that was fair enough, so I never pressured him into anything. But then, after 4 years together, I was getting sick and tired of waiting because I had also been very clear with him. I really wanted to get married and start a family. It was a non negotiable for me, and I thought that we agreed on that. But I'm not getting any younger, and I thought that given the fact that I was in a good place in my career, and we were doing well financially, and also we had been together for 4 years and had been living together for 3 of those years, I believe that it would be appropriate for us to get married. I even spoke to him about it several times, but then he kept telling me that he needed time to think about it, and eventually I just got really frustrated with the whole situation. So I told him that I really needed an answer whether he had any intention of getting married at all in the near future, because I do not want to compromise on what I want. And I don't want him to have to compromise on what he wants in his life as well. I told him that he had by the end of the year to make up his mind whether he wanted to be with me or not, because otherwise it would be better for us to part ways, since clearly we wanted different things from life. We did have a big fight about it because he thought that I was giving him an ultimatum, but in reality, I was just telling him what I wanted because I didn't think it was fair for me to have to give up what I want in my life because of his opinions on marriage. I had waited for long enough. I did not think it was fair to me anymore. So it was not like I was pressuring him into anything, but anyway, I should have known right then that this was not going to work out. But unfortunately, I was too delusional to see that. So I believed it when he apologized to me a couple of days later. And then, about a month after that fight, he proposed to me. It was a dream proposal, and I thought that this was for real. I was very happy about everything, and I was really excited to get married. Unfortunately, though, that did not last long because he started acting very cold and distant. And at first, I thought it was just me imagining things because I didn't want to believe the truth. But then he just ghosted me one day, and I knew that it was over. About 2 months after our engagement, he was just gone. And in the days leading up to that thing, he had already been acting very weird. And I had thought about confronting him, but I never did because I didn't want to face the reality, and I think that was my mistake. Obviously, I was quite shocked that he had ended a 4 year relationship and a 2 month engagement without even bothering to talk to me, without even bothering to face me or even leaving a note or anything. But well, that's what he did. He just packed up and left. And when I came back home from work one day, there was nothing to show for the fact that he had even lived here with me. It was extremely weird because even that morning itself, he had kissed me on the cheek while I left for work and said goodbye and everything, but even so, I had a weird feeling that he was being a bit dodgy. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. I waited for him for a couple of hours, but then when he didn't come back, I tried calling his parents and his friends, and to my surprise, nobody responded. I had started panicking by then, so I was calling anybody and everybody, and for the next couple of days, I kept calling and texting people, trying to get some information. But I never went to the cops because deep down, I guess I knew what had really happened, and I knew that he hadn't gone missing. He simply didn't want to be found by me. Eventually, one of his friends did reach back out to me and told me that he had told everybody he knew to avoid me at all costs. And he was very uncomfortable telling me all of this, but at the end of the day, I appreciate the fact that he let me know. Anyway, that's what happened to me, and it's been 2 months since that incident, and I'm still trying to figure out how to recover from all of that emotionally. Because honestly, the whole thing totally shattered me and my self esteem. And it's been really bad. But I'm trying to get back on my feet now. I'm trying to get back to normal. And one of the major decisions that I've made is that all the money that I thought I was going to put into my wedding, I'm now going to put into traveling and a down payment for a new house. Because obviously, I cannot bear to live here anymore. This house has too many memories attached to him, and I just don't want to be here anymore. So I've been looking at places with my realtor and everything, and next month I'm going to take a break from work and travel for a bit. I think that's the only way I can take my mind off of things, working on myself, doing things for myself, and judging by how down in the dumps I was for the past 2 months, I think everybody would be happy for me. But I was mistaken because my family is actually upset that I'm using this money for myself instead of giving it away to my sister. I simply don't understand why they would even expect something like that, but apparently they do. And they're upset that I'm not living up to their expectations here. Basically, even though they know what I've been through in the past 2 months, they still think that I should just give away my hard earned money to my sister, the wedding fund that I had kept aside for myself, so that she can get married to this secret lover of hers, this guy that I haven't even met, by the way. She thinks it would be a sweet gift to the two of them, and I can always make more money and buy a house and travel later on. But my sister hopes to get married this year because apparently her boyfriend is on the verge of proposing, and the only thing holding him back is the money. So if I sort that out for them, they will be good to go because apparently the guy knows that she wants a grand wedding and he can't afford it right now. So he's waiting for the right time. Now, I haven't met him, but my parents have, and they think they're really good together. So I'll just have to take their word for it and be frank. I don't really care what kind of guy he is, but I don't think that it matters what kind of wedding you have. What matters is who you're getting married to. However, for me, because I wanted to have a lovely grand wedding, I had saved quite some money for myself. But that's my money, right? Why should I give it away to somebody else? Even if that's my sister, it doesn't matter to me because she has a job. She can make her own money and she can find her own wedding. Besides, it's not like I've given up on love, so why should I give away the money? I do hope on finding love again. I do hope to get married in future. I'm definitely open to giving love a second chance. Just not right now. So even if I decided not to travel and buy a house, I still wouldn't have given her that money for the wedding because it's my money. And I have worked for it, obviously. She and my parents are very upset about my behavior. They believe that I'm being selfish, and I simply cannot believe that they even expected me to give away the money so she could have a wedding for herself, while not putting in any effort. And to be very honest, if my parents care so much about her and her happiness, then maybe they should fund the wedding. I don't understand what they're mad about here anyway, but I told them straight up that I don't care if she gets married this year or not, quite frankly. I simply don't care about anything apart from myself right now, and if that makes them unhappy, then so be it. So AITA for telling them that I don't care about anything apart from myself at the moment? Update 1. Hey, so thank you so much to everybody who commented on my post and let me know that I'm doing the right thing, because I really needed to hear that. Out of all the people, I really expected my family to stand by me. But at this point in time, the only people standing by me are my friends. It's ridiculous, because before this, I've never had such stupid problems with my family. I thought my sister and I were always treated equally by our parents, but right now that's definitely not the case. I don't even understand what to say to them or how to make this situation better. But after reading the comments and everything, I realized that it's not on me to make the situation better. They are the ones acting stupid, so they have to fix things. And if they don't want to, that's their loss, not mine. But anyway, I have already decided on a house, and as soon as the paperwork and everything comes through, I'm going to start the process of moving out of this one, and I'm going to move into my new house, and I'm really excited for it. I can't believe I'm going to be a homeowner, and I'm already planning my housewarming party. I don't know if I'm going to invite my parents and my sister, because very honestly, given the situation right now, and given how horrible they've been, I don't think that I would want that. I can't imagine why they would want to put me through all this, knowing what I have already been through in the past couple of months. I mean, can't they just cut me some slack? And the fact that they're being so unreasonable about the whole thing, it makes no sense to me whatsoever. They're calling me selfish. They're calling me now, and for what? Just because I won't give them money so my sister can get married? Like, what even is going on with them? My friends have also told me that my sister has been posting quite shady stuff against me online. And she's not naming me or anything, but it's very clear that this is directed towards me. And honestly, I'm just lucky that I'm not big on social media, because seeing that kind of thing would genuinely make me very upset. And I'm not up for that kind of thing at the moment. I don't even want to fight or anything. I'm done. I just want to be on my own for a while, and I want to heal from whatever I've been through this year so far. It's been absolutely unbearable. Update 2. So I recently sent out the invitations to my housewarming party, which is in a couple of days, and of course my parents did not receive one. Neither did my sister, given whatever she had been posting about me. I don't even understand why they would expect an invitation after fighting with me and not speaking to me, especially over something so ridiculously stupid. Anyway, I didn't think that they would care about it, but I guess I was wrong. Or maybe I was right. So they don't actually care about being invited to the party. They just want to create a scene. So anyway, a couple of hours ago, I got a phone call from my mom, and she was howling on the phone, like literally howling. And my dad was screaming his head off in the background, and both of them sounded very upset. She was crying, he was yelling, and I was very confused as to what was going on. Finally, I was able to make out that they were very upset that everybody had received an invitation for my housewarming party in the family, and they had to find out from some other relative that I had already purchased the house. They told me they found it insulting that I hadn't even consulted with them before making such a huge purchase, that I hadn't even shown them the house or anything, and most importantly, that I hadn't even invited them to the party. They said that it's humiliating and they don't understand why I'm doing this. I found that pretty funny, because they could just think about their own behavior and they would definitely understand why I was doing this. And that's exactly what I told them, that if they really did not understand what they had done wrong, then they probably have forgotten all about their own behavior towards me up until a couple of weeks ago. At that point, my dad got very upset. He started telling me that this was no way to speak to my parents, given the fact that they had raised me and done everything in their power to give me a good life. And now the fact that I was even able to buy a house, the fact that I was in a position good enough to do all of this myself, was all thanks to them. and I shouldn't be so ungrateful. He told me he was just shocked that I would be so careless about their feelings, and he had never expected something like this from me, and I started to get really annoyed. Because at the end of the day, let's not forget who started all of this. So I reminded them that they were the ones who had told me that I was being selfish and narcissistic just because I did not want to give away my hard earned money to my sister so she could get married to some guy that I didn't even know. I mean, if anything, they had been the ones to act entitled and unreasonably, and then they decided to get mad at me and my sister, started posting stuff against me on social media, and they decided to stop talking to me. And even after all of that, if they expected me to invite them to my housewarming party and thought that I was going to act all friendly with them, then they were totally mistaken. Because I really value myself. I have some self-respect and I'm not willing to let that go, especially after everything that has happened. I think right now it's especially important for me to hold on to my dignity, and I'm not going to let anybody dictate the terms of my life. I've already done that for 4 years. I've wasted enough time living a life that I did not seem to be totally happy with. And I'm done waiting around for people to act right. If people think that they can get away with walking all over me, then they are really wrong. And they need to think twice. They started telling me that this was not the same thing, but in essence, it really was. Once again, I was being expected to be forgiving. I was being expected to be the one who was reasonable and kind and all of that. Whereas they could just behave however they wanted to, and I was just expected to move on. I mean, that's not how things work. I'm not going to let it work like that anymore. I told them that if they really wanted to be invited to the party, they could have called me and they could have apologized for everything. They could have tried to sort things out with me, but instead they started hurling accusations at me and picked a fight. So this guaranteed the fact that they are not going to be there at the party, and I would definitely not want them attending either. At this point, my dad was about to say something, but I cut him off. I hung up the phone, and that was that. I blocked them for a good measure as well, just to make sure that nobody amongst these three, my parents and my sister, would be able to reach out to me. And I've also told everyone in the family not to give out my address to anybody else. I wouldn't want them showing up at the party because that would totally ruin things. And I'm just hoping that my family rises to the occasion and honors what I asked of them. I know it's a lot because I know for a fact that my parents are going to try whatever means possible to get the address out of somebody somehow, and I'm just hoping that nobody gives it away. Update 3. So it's been 3 days since my housewarming party, and thankfully enough, it went pretty well. My family did not show up, and I'm guessing my relatives are stuck to their word and they did not give out my address to anybody, or even if they did, I guess my family decided not to turn up. Anyway, I've not spoken to them, and they have not made any further attempts to contact me anyhow. I think right now that's the way I would like to keep it. Maybe in the future, if they come to their senses, then I would like to reconcile with them, but for now, I think this is for the best. I have fully settled into my new home now. I feel very good about all of this, and I guess slowly but steadily, I'm getting out of that whole zone that my ex left me in. Obviously, it's not that easy because even now, whenever I see things that reminds me of him, I tend to break down a little and I have to pull myself back together and I have to remind myself what he did to me. I have to remind myself that I'm better off without him, because if somebody could do this to me and hurt me like this without even having second thoughts about it, then they clearly did not deserve a space in my life. But yeah, one thing is for sure. I'm getting better, and next month I'm gonna go on the trip that I decided I needed. I'm still planning for it though, so let's see how it goes. Things did get a little lonely when I realized that I had to stop talking to my family, But my friends have been there for me and they keep checking up on me. They keep visiting me whenever possible. And I'm really thankful for it because honestly, it means a lot to me, especially at this point in time in my life when things seem to be falling apart. The fact that I know for sure that there are certain people in the world that I can count on always, it's more than what I could have asked for. I have lost a certain amount of friends though, because the people that I thought were my friends, the people I knew through my ex, they have all cut me off, even the ones who are not really that close with him anymore. So I don't know what he's up to. Even though I try to find out sometimes, which I know is not good for me, but I can't help it. In a way, I guess it's for the best that I don't know what he's doing. It makes it easier to move on now. Update 4. Hey, so it's a pretty weird coincidence, but in my last update, literally 4 days ago, I had mentioned that I thought it was a good thing that I did not know what my ex was up to, because that way it would be easier for me to move on. And today itself, I got an update on him. And to be honest, I don't know what to feel about it because it's just weird. Basically, one of my friends told me that one of her friends and one of my acquaintances just sent her a screenshot of a profile on a dating app. And it's definitely my ex's profile. At first, I honestly thought it was a fake and maybe somebody was pretending to be him or whatever. But then I saw that it was a verified account, so I knew that it had to be him. I was honestly shocked when I first found out because he was never the kind of person to go for dating apps. He had always insisted that he wanted to meet somebody. He would prefer he met them organically, like through friends or at places where he goes to. He had always looked down on dating apps, even though I didn't really find it that bad of an option, but yeah, he never liked it. So I found it very ironic that he was on one now. And just for the sake of finding out what he's up to, I spoke to this acquaintance of mine and I told her that she could match with him if he wanted. So she did. And it was a match because he had swiped on her too. And within a minute of that, he had started texting her. He was flirting with her, complimenting her and everything. And I'm pretty sure he was just trying to hook up with her somehow because the way he was texting her, it was quite shady. I'm sure he has no idea that this person knows me because if he did, he wouldn't have texted or matched with her. And for those of you asking, the acquaintance that I'm referring to is somebody I used to be close with in high school. But since then, we have drifted apart a bit. However, because of my social media and everything, she knew I was dating this guy. She didn't feel comfortable enough coming to me directly, which is why she reached out to a common friend who she was still close with. And that's how I found out, because she and I were never that close while I was dating my ex. He doesn't really know her, which is working to my advantage because he's making a total, complete fool out of himself in front of her. And also in front of me, to be very honest, because the way he's texting her is just desperate. I don't even understand what he's trying to do, and it's just sad. But anyway, because of this, at least I got to reconnect with an old friend of mine, so that's a good thing that came out of this, I guess. Update 5. Hi, so it's been a couple of days since my previous update and my friend has unmatched him. But she did send me all the screenshots of the very short conversation she had with him. It was pretty entertaining because she led him for a couple of minutes. She pretended to be interested and flirted back with him. And he was quite desperate, which was obvious, so he was responding very enthusiastically. I'm not even joking. He was acting as if he had never been with a woman before, and he didn't even waste time before asking her whether she wanted to hook up or not. And it was pretty crass because they had only been talking for a couple of hours. And throughout that whole conversation, he had been dropping hints that he wanted to hook up, but she had been ignoring it. Anyway, when he came out and said it, she decided to tell him that as it is, she was way out of his league. And even apart from that, she knew what he had done with me. She knew that it had only been a couple of months since he had ghosted his girlfriend of 4 years and his fiancée of 2 months. Without any shame, and without even bothering to provide an explanation. So, no, she would not be hooking up with him under any circumstances whatsoever. He saw that. He called her a bunch of names and then she unmatched him. But it didn't matter because we had all the receipts, and honestly, I'm very glad I got back at him in this very small and kind of petty way. I don't even care about the pettiness. I think this is the least that could have happened. I'm glad I went through with it. I know this is not going to change anything. I know he's still going to be the same person. He's still not going to care. But at least I know for a fact that he's embarrassed because of what happened. And well, I definitely count that as a win. I wish there was a way to make him feel even more sorry about what had happened. I wish there was a way for him to feel the kind of pain that I did, but there isn't. So I guess I'll just make my peace with it. Anyway, with regards to my parents, we're still not talking to each other, and it's the same with my sister. However, I'm looking forward to my trip, which is in a couple of days, and I'm really excited for it. So I'm not going to pay any mind to all this nonsense. I'm going to move on with my life. I'm going to live to the fullest, and I'm not going to let anybody pull me down. Update 6. So it's been 3 months since my previous update, and I'm doing pretty well for myself now. I'm working on my own business model, and I'm planning on starting my own thing in a couple of months. I went on the trip, did some soul searching, and realized that it was finally time to build something for myself because I had been dreaming of it since I was a kid. So why not start now? After all, there's never going to be a right time for anything. Whatever we have is right now. And I've decided to live my life based on that knowledge. My family and I are still not on talking terms, but I don't really care about that. My ex, however, decided to reach out to me a couple of weeks ago. He said he was very sorry and everything, and that he had lost his head, but if I was open to it, he would like to give everything a second try, and he would love to at least talk to me in person and explain everything to me. Now, a couple of months ago, I would have been tempted to meet him and get an answer, but now I just don't care. He did what he had to, and now I'm not bothered for an answer. It doesn't matter because it's not going to change what he did, and no matter what, I don't think I can ever go back to him again. I have forgiven him, and I'm going to forget him. And that's going to be the end of it. I don't need to talk to him and get an answer to move on. I'm done with him. Now it's all about me. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.